Hi, I'm Tanya H. Franklin, and welcome to Tricks My Dog Taught Me, a podcast for lighthearted and occasional deep conversations with family and friends revolving around my journey as a dog mom to my little guy, Zach the Toy Poodle, which prompted me to self-publish my first book, Shit My Dog Taught Me, where I share some of my insights through poetry and weekly life lessons. So for today's episode, it's incredibly close to my heart. We're celebrating a massive milestone for a woman who has been a pillar of joy, love, and energy in my life for 26 years. And this September makes her just 1 year away from joining the fabulous 60s club. She's my sister-in-law, my dear friend, and she's even a dedicated dog mom and a fiercely proud mother to her adult children, the ultimate social butterfly, and a woman who's walked hand in hand with her husband for over 30 beautiful years. So thank you so much, Dee,
You're
for
welcome.
joining me
You
today.
are welcome. It is an honor and a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so this episode is going to be all about week 29's poem in my book,
Okay.
and it's titled Affection Pact. And the inspiration for the poem, it's actually started with a very special member of my own family, my toy poodle, Zach. And he's been in our lives for 6 wonderful years. And, just watching him be just so uncomplicated, his devotion that he gives to us as a pack, it just makes me think about how beautiful that is when a human can carry that same level of energy when they have their pack or their family and they're dedicated to them. And when I think of you, I look at you embodying that, where you just are so dedicated to your family. And so what I want to do is just start off by sharing the poem with you
Sure.
and our listeners,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good to me.
Pack in love with the idea of unity. All for one thing is certain. Important is affection. So something the listeners and you may not see is the actual line breaks in the poem.
Okay.
So affection, it's the last line and it's the only word and it's set aside from itself. And I did that intentionally because of the power of affection. Affection, it seems to define your entire universe. When I think about the literal pack, where it's puppies, or when I think about your marriage, relationship goals, 30 years, the unbreakable unity that you have with your children, and even how you bring your friends and everything together, that it seems that to me, you live your life completely affection packed. And so what I want to do is just start off with some lighthearted questions to get us started.
Sure.
The poem says pack in love, and we're both dog moms.
Yes. Absolutely.
And while Zach, he does sometimes run the show. Who do you think runs your household? You, your husband Scott, or maybe your dog Coco?
Coco does have her moments where things revolve around Coco. Because, when we're on vacation, who's going to watch Coco? Everything revolves around her. And when you bring a dog or an animal into your life, you have to realize that that's an extra level of care, because people will watch your kid, you know what I mean? But everybody's not going to watch your dog. So a lot of our life revolves around Coco. Vacation schedules, work schedules, walking schedules, all of those things revolve around Coco a lot. But Scott and I do run the show. Theoretically, he is definitely the leader of our home, our house. No, and he leads by, not by force or brute or bullyish, or he just has this guiding light that we look to as our protector and as our guider. But if he's the CEO, I'm the COO.
Yes.
I run the operation.
I love that. I love
absolutely,
that. And
yes.
I would say, and part of what you said about how Coco with walks and making sure you make arrangements for her, I would say something that, not even that Zach runs the show, but I choose to put him first
Absolutely.
with is, and it can be difficult sometimes, when we have the holiday party and you come over and family and everyone's
Yes.
there, and he's family.
He is
I want
family.
him to be there. And there's times when maybe someone is afraid of a dog or
Sure,
something,
sure,
and you're
sure.
like, okay, do I need
Absolutely.
a little thing? But
But
and
people have phobia,
but
yeah.
people have phobias. So in those instances, I like to try to rotate
Right, sure.
but there's a few times I've seen reels where, and you may have seen some of these, where the person says, "You gonna put your dog up? Because I don't want to see." And you're like, "Hey, he lives here.
Absolutely.
He lives here.
Absolutely.
You don't have to come over.
You don't have to come
And
over.
it's not a matter of being mean.
No.
But like, you don't have to come over, and I'm not going to crate him.
Absolutely.
It's one thing if it's someone who, I'm like, hey, I invited them over.
Sure.
And they were unaware or something. I'm like, oh, I'll hold him or something like that.
Absolutely.
But if they know he lives there.
Yes.
And not only that, it costs money to put him in a hotel.
It does cost money to put him in a hotel. Absolutely. And most people who come to our home know that Coco is there because she is a jumper, and I'm trying to get her not to be a jumper. It's been 5 years, and it's not Coco's fault. It is her owner's fault. Like Caesar Milan always says,
Yes.
I do not train dogs.
Yeah.
I train humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have to, be a little bit better with that. But when people come to my home, I still want them to be comfortable, but she needs to be comfortable also.
Yeah.
So with her hyperness is only for about 15 minutes. So what I'll do is we'll crate her for 15 minutes and then say, are you ready to come out? And then she'll go and sniff and everything. And then after that, she doesn't pay them any attention.
Yeah.
But I don't want her held hostage because of our lack of training, you know what I mean? Or that person not feeling comfortable. And like I said, she's a part of this family, and we're not, sometimes we have taken her to my sister's house where we have a barbecue because sometimes it's overstimulating for her.
Yes.
It's a lot of people, a lot of smells.
What's going on
yes,
here?
It's a lot. Absolutely.
Yes.
And then I was feeling bad about that. I'm like, well, why should she have to go away? But then I thought about her anxiety. You know what I mean? She's got that poodle thing going.
Yes.
So I think her being comfortable and my guests being comfortable is a fine line. And I know you feel the same exact way.
Yes.
But we make it work.
Yes, I'm like, because I think it must be something in the Oodle family where they loved, because Zach, he gets so excited.
Absolutely.
When he sees people, he's like, oh my gosh, it's someone.
It's
Especially if he smelled you before. And he's like, oh my gosh, here she comes.
Absolutely. And we just had this conversation the other day when my sister-in-law came over, or my niece will come over, and they don't come over, like we don't have a lot of company all the time. But Coco goes completely crazy. And like you just mentioned, it's because they've smelled them before. And we're thinking, you don't even see them that often. They don't have to see them that often. And they are, we affection-packed animals.
Yes.
And that's why we love her, for that reason, because she's very affectionate. And then when she doesn't want to be bothered, she goes and does her own thing.
I know there's some people, there's like, if you don't want a dog that's going to be around you and want to be up under you, do not get a poodle or golden doodle or anything in that family because they want to be right there.
They want to be right there at all times. The only time Coco does not want to be with us is when she's in the car and we have to rub her because, she gets a little car sick, but she'll let us hold her and stuff, but she doesn't like the car rides. So it's okay when we do leave her because we started leaving her early so she wouldn't have that anxiety, but they want to be. And we're an affectionate family, so it just works out for us.
And so we mentioned packed in love and with Coco. What's something funny that Coco's done recently?
Recently, what has she done? Oh, so when my grandson comes over, she used to be like super, super hype and, want to lick on him and jump on him. This is when he's when he was younger, one of our grandsons, well, now that Wraith is older, he is the one that's chasing her. And now she's going in the crate and looking at us and her eyes are like, can somebody get him? Yes. And we're like, you have a lot of nerve. Like the roles have reversed because she's getting a little older. She's 5 now. So now I'm like, oh, really? You want somebody to get somebody away from you when you're always up in everybody else's face. That she is just really funny. Yesterday, I don't know what's going on. This is happening to us for the last, say, 5-6 years. We keep getting a bird in our house, and it's every summer. One year we went on vacation. My son was checking the house. Alon was checking the house, and he said, Mom, you're not going to believe this. So he came to check the house. Lo and behold, the bird got in the house, couldn't get out. Alon came to the house 2 days later. The bird went everywhere in our house. Just poo everywhere. We had to have it
Mm.
disinfected. Crazy. So this has been going on for the last 5 or 6 years. We don't know how they're getting in. Sky seems to think they're coming in from the chimney to the basement. Lo and behold, yesterday, I'm sitting there doing my workout. Remember I talked to you yesterday? I'm doing my workout on YouTube, and Coco goes, and when she does that, I know it's something going on because there was no noise. Next thing you know, here comes the bird, big, huge black bird. I scream. My son Jen goes, "What's wrong? Bird!" We all know the drill because it happened 2 weeks ago. So that was our first bird sighting 2 weeks ago, and she was running back and forth because the front door was open. She grabbed onto the thing, and Coco was trying to get her. So I go, "Let me sneak over there and just open the door real quick." The door was locked. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm sorry. Before I did that, I went around the front to try to open, and it was locked. Mind you, was raining. I run back around. So now I'm at the broom and I'm trying to do that. And Coco was right there with me. And it's so funny to see her. I don't know if it's being aggressive, but I guess that's what dogs do. You know,
Yeah.
she likes to, to hunt those kind of things. Because when we open the door and she goes out, if a squirrel's on the lawn, she's chasing
Yes,
it.
it's over.
So yes, it's just so funny to see her in that little aggressive, like, shouldn't say aggressive, maybe assertive, like, this is my domain. You don't belong in here. So yesterday, she could chase another bird out the house.
Well, hey, she's like, listen, I'm trying to help y'all out.
She was very helpful because she alerted me before I even saw it. When she got in that stance, I said, uh-oh. Next time, as soon as I said, uh-oh in my head, but she helped me get it out.
And I would say, even though she may not want the bird there, she herself seems like a social butterfly, similar
She
to
is.
Zachy.
Yes.
And definitely when we're on walks, not so much the squirrels, but
Right.
just humans and other dogs. Zach's like, listen, I wanna talk to everybody. I'm gonna sit here and wait. And
Absolutely.
so the funny part of that
Mhm.
is both Sean and Quinn say that Zach is mimicking my behavior because I'm always looking for friends.
Okay.
I do the air quotes for people who are listening.
Right.
And I guess it's because I didn't have many friends when I was younger. And so in adulthood, I'm more vocal and I'm more willing to go up to people.
Absolutely.
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
And so they say that Zach mimics me and I mimic Zach. Like, ooh, a friend. But I look at you and you're such a social butterfly yourself.
I
And
am.
I'm just thinking about if you had to put a title on your social calendar, whether it was a movie title or a song title, what would it be called?
What would be called as far as me?
Yeah,
my
you.
personality and my social?
Yes.
So I probably would call it coming in theaters. The introverted extrovert.
That's me.
That's me. That is me. Because when I'm up here, and I want to socialize and I want to get caught up in the human experience. I absolutely enjoy people. I talk to people in the market. I don't go up to people. They actually gravitate towards me for some reason. When we're on vacation, if I'm in the water, next thing you know, I have a whole circle around me. And I enjoy it. And then when the social battery starts to decline, I'm not rude about it. I kind of back away and I want my me time. Like since I've been home from summer break, the first week I didn't leave the house. It was just so great being home and just like my husband was downstairs. The boys were doing whatever. Jalen's doing what he's doing, Scotty's doing. And I just love that alone time. If I'm absorbed in a book or a show or whatever the case may be. But then when I want to come in contact with humanity, I enjoy that also. But the solace is very comforting. I think you have to recharge. You have to, all right. I'm in it with you people. And now tiptoeing backwards. So
and
it would be the
you say recharge. I actually had a few people ask me before, do I teach summer school or have I ever taught summer school? And I said I did prior to Quinn being born. But after that, I wanted to have that time with her.
Absolutely.
But the other reason is because I need to recharge. That I would say not even just being what I would call an introverted extrovert. I would also say that I am an empath as well. And I tend to hold on to a lot of people's emotions and what they're experiencing. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's not. And I need to be able to peel out of all of those layers. So then when it's time for me to get back into the
Mhm.
flow of things, I can do that. So same in interacting with people. You mentioned anxiety, like with Coco, and
Mhm.
Zach can be that way too, that
Mhm.
I enjoy people,
Right.
but overwhelming crowds,
Yes. Absolutely.
it can be difficult for me, and then I find myself reverting back to the old me of
More.
being self-conscious
Yes.
and,
Uh-huh.
"Oh,
Uh-huh.
I don't know
Right.
who's looking at
Right,
me,"
right,
and
right. Yeah, absolutely,
so
absolutely. And then I
Mhm.
get overly stimulated. Like I don't do festivals and and all those like fireworks up. I can't do those kind of things anymore because it's just too much stimulation. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I remember as like a young girl, like to go to the block parties and stuff, and still feeling like anxious about what's going to happen, what could happen, what's my exit,
Mhm,
plan. So,
mhm, mhm.
those I understand exactly what you mean because I'm empath as well. And like you said, you just take on all the layers, whether, like you
Yes.
said, whether it be good or bad. And then you like, all right, I got to shed all these layers. It's like a snake. I got to shed this skin and being empathetic and sympathetic to people's needs. And I also try to fix them.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? And then I find myself now, as older I gotten, I'm like, you don't have to fix everything. And
yeah,
sometimes you can just
yeah.
be a listening ear or
Mhm.
not. Sometimes I just don't have it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like I don't have it to give. And
Mhm.
I've always felt like I've given enough. And so enough can just be enough for that particular day.
Yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Yeah. And if they can't handle it, they just have to deal with it on their own and they have to make it enough
Mhm,
because I don't
mhm.
have enough
Yeah,
today.
yeah. And you say about fixing. I used to
Hmm.
be in that place, and I won't say that I'm not any longer
Hmm.
totally,
Right.
but I've gotten better at that. But
Absolutely.
I will say my issue, and one of my friends mentioned this in one of the previous episodes, one of the very first ones, my friend Kia, and we were talking about perspectives, and
Hmm.
she says how many people there are in the world, and I'm trying to figure out everybody's perspective. She's like, "That's a
It
disaster."
is
You're
a disaster.
trying to figure out everyone's perspective and why they may do what they do and why
Hmm.
they feel how they feel
Yep.
so that I can empathize with them and not
Right.
immediately react and
Absolutely.
think that someone's being mean and that it's
Yep.
about me.
Absolutely.
So while on one hand, I think it's good that I do that,
Hmm.
but on the other, then I stay in that place of thinking about others too long and then may put myself lower than where I'm putting them.
Absolutely right. And guess what? Over time, it just automatically, I don't know if it's because of its practice or we've done it so long that we're drained of it. It rises back up to,
Mhm.
oh, I'm sorry they felt that. And then you push it away and you
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
glide away from it. Cause I was
Mhm.
the same exact way. Well, such and such is that way because I start going down their whole history of probably, traumatic family issues and
Mhm.
start of, no, just we could be in a moment when it happens. And I don't have to go down that whole rabbit hole of somebody else's business when I really need to be going and putting my summer clothes away or moving my winter clothes away. And I'm trying to figure out somebody else's crap. Organize this house. You cannot be Dr.
Mhm.
Phil today.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
So yeah, because we get caught up in that because we are empath. And there's nothing wrong with that. I remember a friend told me, you're just too nice. And I don't think you could ever be too nice.
Mhm.
That's just my, way of thinking. Maybe some people think. One thing I always tell people, I am definitely not a people pleaser. I'm a people person. So I don't go out of my way to try to please people, but I do like interacting with people. And nobody's ever going to get off. I'm not going to give you too much of myself that I feel drained and lost and discombobulated in my own life. I give enough of what I think I have to offer and then I let it go. But I can't keep going down that same rabbit hole. And I had to learn that, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm not Mrs. Fix It, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not here to please, but like I said, the human experience is very important to me. And I don't know where that came from, if it came from my mom, because my mom was an empath and,
Mhm.
my dad was not that he wasn't empathetic towards people, but I guess I have that happy medium in
Yeah.
between both. My mother was like that person that people would go to all the time. And it didn't seem burdensome to her. And it doesn't seem burdensome to me either because I know my boundaries. I'm like, all right, enough of this. All right, girl, I'll call you later. Have a good one. I hope you feel better. And people have often told me over
Mhm.
and over, I always feel better when I talk to you. And I'm not giving them advice. I'm actually just listening to what they're saying,
Yes.
asking them the question of what do you think should happen? Like almost it's therapeutic, I guess, for them. And then I used to always feel like, okay, are they even going to listen to this? But I stopped caring about whether they're going to listen to it. You ask me this, and I'm asking you these things back. I'm not giving you the blueprint of what you should do in your life. You're giving me whatever the problem is. And this happens so much in my life with new people and old people. You give me the issue that you're having, I always throw it back to, well, what do you think about it? What made you, how'd you feel when this happened? And then they start to think about it. And so now the burden is not on me, it's on you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, SHIT. We'll get off the pot. I did the quotes because, see, although Tanya is not a potty mouth at all, I have a potty mouth. I'm being very professional today. But I have a potty mouth time and place. Depends on who I'm talking to,
Mm-hmm.
and I never do it in public.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because there's so many people who I've spoken with
Mhm.
who do have potty mouths, and they've even told me that they do. But I'm like, you do?
Yes,
I've
right.
never heard you. And they're like,
Right.
not around
Not
you,
around
though.
you, Tanya. No.
Like I said, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they can't be themselves
No,
around
you still
me.
because you know what? It's not necessary all the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And around you, it's not necessary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even though we've been out, and I might slip up and say, damn, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. It's I use it as like a verbal judo. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? I'm not
mhm.
cursing people out, or I'm not. It's just to emphasize a point sometimes
Yes.
when I'm in that moment. When I say potty mouth, I'm not going around. Oh, that's not what I mean by potty mouth. And it's so funny that my children, my adult children, my oldest son is 39, my daughter is 34, and my son is 26. We're in a conversation and we're talking. And so my oldest son will say, Mom, can I say the word? Like even now. I said, what word is it? And then he'll say whatever. He's telling the story, so he'll say the word. And my daughter will go, oh, Mom, he cursed. And it's the funniest thing. And my husband always goes, you got the pottiest mouth ever. And these kids still go around. But they know it's not like I'm not vulgar,
Mhm.
you know what I mean, with it. But that's why I love the title of your book, because it is so funny to see. When it first came out, I said, Tanya said this? But it's so apropos, and I love the title, and I think it fits perfectly with the experience that you've had
Mhm,
with Zach
mhm.
and him teaching you and you teaching him. But
Yeah,
yeah, they definitely teach us more than I think we teach them. Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
And just even speaking about teaching more,
Mhm.
I mentioned how you have just 1 year until you reach your milestone of the big
Yes.
6-0, which is a beautiful
Right,
milestone.
absolutely.
So I'm just wondering, what's one thing that you're not tolerating anymore as you enter that milestone?
As I enter that milestone, I'm practicing it now, and I have been probably since I was turned like 55. I'm practicing the art of no, period. No explanation, no excuses, no little white lie. It's just no, I'm simply not doing it. No, I'm not interested. So I can do no, I'm not interested, and it'd be it, or no, I just don't want to lend you this money today. You know what I mean? Because that happens often. I just don't want to because you keep coming back and forth. So no is a big thing for me, being an empath and wanting to help others. You know what I mean? Help and people relying on you and dumping on you are two totally different
Mhm.
things. In my 60s, the boundaries are going to be very, very clear. And it's not going to be like in a nasty way. It's just that I don't have it today. I don't have anything to give today. So it's just a no. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so that's going to be my focus going forward, to practice on that, because it makes me feel better. I feel anxious sometimes when people don't realize when one person is asking me something or for something, it's 20 people over here asking me for something because they know I have that heart and that spirit to be a giver. You know, I'm not a taker. I feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable sometimes, you know, receiving gifts. And that's another thing. Receiving compliments, receiving gifts. I'm going to take hold to that because people, if they want to say it to you or they want to give it to you, accept it. It's really an insult when you like, or people say, oh, your hair looks nice. I'm like, oh, yeah, but you didn't see this part, you know? So excuses, boundaries, and no are things
Mhm.
I'm pushing for in my 60s.
I love that.
Yes.
That means that I'm almost there.
Yeah.
I'm not at 60, but what I mean by almost there
Mm-hmm.
is I'm not full on no,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a hard maybe.
Yes, absolutely. And what's wrong with a hard maybe? Absolutely.
And so I like to be able to process what someone's asking
Right.
me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even tell them that. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
say, let me get back to you.
Right,
Or I'll say,
absolutely.
when do you need an answer by?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I say, I'll let them know if it's something I would like to do. And I say,
Sure,
I'd like to do that, but
absolutely.
I need to make sure I have the time,
Yes,
because one thing that I'm not going to do is commit to something
absolutely,
and then not follow through.
absolutely,
And especially if it's someone who they came to me for a specific reason. And
absolutely.
I know you're really good at this, Tanya. Could you
Yes,
help me with this? And I
absolutely.
say yes, and then I blow them off. That's not
Absolutely, that's
cool.
not cool. And
And yeah,
processing it, taking time to process, and like we said, being an empath, we automatically want to go to, oh yeah, I can do it. Well, you don't know what Sean has to do, you don't know what Quinn has to
exactly.
do, what you have to do with Zach, what your own life, and we automatically say yes. And sitting back and processing, that's with anything in life, processing all these things instead of just being on go. So
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
I might be able to, but let me get back with you
Mhm.
and in a great way. And I think we should all respect that, and we should do it to each other. The
Right.
same way if I
Yeah.
said, Tanya, can you do such and such? And you're like, oh, that interferes with my sleep schedule or whatever the case may be, my exercise schedule. Oh, Tanya, I'm so sorry. I forgot you do such and such. And that. Whatever, if you don't get a chance to do it, can you refer me to somebody? Or if
Mhm.
not, don't worry about it, girl. I'll figure it out.
Mm.
I think as adults, we should be able to have that
Yes.
exchange without
Yes.
people saying, she ain't got time for nobody no more. It's not that.
Mhm.
I think we
Mhm.
all should, because this time on this earth is very, very fleeting. So we have to be careful about who we share our time or who we allow access to our world,
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And even in saying that, I think about how, and we're 6 years out now
Mm-hmm.
from the pandemic.
Yes.
And Zach's a pandemic pup.
Yes. Coco was a
But
year after.
yes, but I'm thinking about how that helped me
Mm-hmm.
turn many of my yeses into maybes,
Right.
and coming to that
Sure.
realization that, not that I didn't realize it before, but
Mm-hmm.
my actions were not in alignment
Mm-hmm.
with the idea of my time is
Right.
valuable.
Exactly.
My actions weren't demonstrating that. It was demonstrating that other people's time is more valuable
Absolutely
than
right.
my own. And when I say other people, I'm not even just talking about friends, family,
Mm-hmm.
or people who are friends of
Right.
friends.
Sure.
I'm talking about work.
Absolutely.
And I love teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being able to have a positive impact with my
Sure.
students. But there's times when, now it's easy for me to tell them flat out no.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely.
And when I say flat out no's, meaning that I set
Expectations.
expectations.
Absolutely right.
Exactly. And they know.
Consequences. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They know if they're going to come to me and ask me something, they already know the answer
Absolutely
more
right.
times than not. And so
Absolutely.
sometimes they won't even bother to ask.
That's right.
And it's not a matter of me being mean. And I tell them, I say, I would be doing you a disservice
Absolutely right.
if I just bend.
Absolutely.
And I have some of my students who would, or former students at this point,
Mm-hmm.
well, Professor such and such lets me hand in stuff whenever. And I said, that's wonderful.
That's wonderful.
That's their way of doing things.
Absolutely
And I
right.
said, life happens to everybody.
Absolutely.
I allow for one late assignment.
Absolutely.
You use it as you see fit. I said, you don't have to tell me why. Just tell me, I would like to use my one late assignment, and you only get until the next class. There's some of my colleagues who allow students to submit their work. Let's say we'll say they're teaching and it's the fall semester, and it was something that was due in September. There will be a student who comes to them in late November and says, oh, by the way, can I hand in that assignment for exactly? And people who are listening cannot see the face that Dee is making in the eye roll. But I don't do the eye roll. I smile.
Yes, because you have
In
to
my-
be professional.
in my
In your
head,
head,
I'm
you're doing the eye
eye-rolling.
roll on the side eye.
But I'm like, huh. And I say, you should have asked for that. I said, you get one late for the class to the next class.
Mhm.
And so I think in them knowing that, they'll say, oh, she's going to say no.
Absolutely.
And that's just me being able to set that boundary, that expectation, and to let them know it's not a matter of me being mean. When you're out there, I sound like I am someone's mom.
Yeah,
But when you're out there in the real world,
they're not going to care about
They're
whether
not
you
gonna care.
Yes, exactly. You had a stomach ache. But
Yes.
it's just like parenting. When kids try to
Yes.
play one parent against the other. What dad said, well,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And I
Dad
always
said
say, well,
that.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yes.
That's great that they give you that opportunity.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Are you going to use the
Yes.
opportunity? But in this class, this is what the expectation is.
Yes.
I have teachers in my school who will say, I'm not nice until after Halloween. I have to set a boundary from
Yes.
September until after
Yes.
Halloween. So I'm not nice then. And then we can, I have to set my boundaries, and they have to know, because you have to retrain. These kids are coming off of summer break, and, you have to retrain yourself. And,
Yes.
and the boundary has to be set and made clear, and the circumstances that come along with it. That's with anything in life,
Yes.
I'm learning that about my own self.
Yes.
Holding my own self accountable is the hardest person to hold accountable. Other than anybody else, I can do a hard no, but for myself, now you shouldn't be eating that. Now you should be going on your walk. Now worst one.
Yeah.
I need to create boundaries for myself.
Yeah.
This side and this side need to come together. So that's what I'm working on too for my 60s, holding on myself accountable. You know what I mean? Not other people holding me accountable or me having other people hold, because I don't have expectations. And that's another thing as far as expectations and because even people put people on pedestals as, oh, the pastor shouldn't have done that, because we are all human and we're all infallible. So I don't expect things from other people. I expect things from myself. And when I fall short of those things, I'm ashamed of myself. And instead of correcting them or course correcting myself, sometimes I go even further out on the line and do it worse. I'm like, you got to bring this back in and course correct myself is one of the hardest things that,
It kind of reminds me of people, and this is not to say that I haven't ever done this.
Right.
I will say I don't do it often, but where there's a misstep, especially since you mentioned about food or fitness things, and you eat one bad thing, but it's early in the day, and you're like, oh well, I might as well.
Might as well go ahead.
I might as well go on and eat the rest of the stuff.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Instead of just course correcting it then.
Yes.
And then sometimes also if you do it, like, all right, you screwed up. We're going to screw up. All right, next 5 days, commit to yourself and get it back.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. That's one of the hardest things for me is self-discipline. And I'm so surprised because I'm such a person who, thrives on when people do what they say they're going to do. And I'll do it with other people. But then when it comes to me, I'm like, well, I've done all these things for other people. I should reward myself. No. It should be the other way around. You've done so much for yourself, and you should reward yourself with, being better to yourself.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a thought process too, because you're so busy doing all these different things. That's why I kind of like to mind my business and stay in my lane. I'm like, I can't even deal with this one life, much less what this one got going on and that one got going on. So, the boundaries and things are very, very important in every part of our life. You know what I mean? And disciplines.
Yes. And I will say, even in going on the cruise recently with discipline,
Right.
I looked at it as a challenge for me because a lot of people use the phrase, I'm on vacation.
Let it all hang out.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And I said, vacation, I still got to live in this body.
Absolutely right. After vacation is over.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that I was, and I always try to make it clear to anyone who observes me, especially family and friends, I don't ever deprive myself.
Absolutely.
I enjoy what it is that I'm eating, and perhaps my palate has changed over time where I enjoy healthy foods.
Absolutely.
But I was saying that I front load my protein.
Right.
And then I eat maybe some fruit or vegetables.
Sure.
And then I may have a carb after that.
But what's wrong with that?
And but I enjoy it.
Yes, you enjoy it.
And then and I always say, if I've eaten my meal,
right,
then I'm still hungry. Okay. Now I'll have that dessert.
Absolutely.
And then I don't overindulge. But I saw so many people, and it's not a matter of me judging them.
Right.
That's their journey.
Absolutely.
But I saw so many people front loading dessert.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, the treats piled on.
Absolutely right.
And I'm saying to myself, I wonder if this is just because I'm on vacation.
Right.
And I think for some people it is. And I get that.
Or some people it could be just their lifestyle.
Yes.
And guess what? What other people consume in their bodies, mind, spirit is none of our business.
Yes.
Do you? And I'm going to do me. But I don't like when people, you're not even, she don't even want to eat a piece of bread. Why are they worried about when you put it in your mouth and you getting up and doing your exercise? I think it's the greatest thing when you set goals for yourself and you set out to accomplish them and you accomplish them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without any judgment, I wouldn't, if I were you, and I know you don't, what people say about you, is none of your business. What people
Yes.
say about me is none of my business. I applaud and I thank you for your interest in my life, but it doesn't affect my life one bit. I'm going to eat what I want, when I want. I don't need judgment, and I don't need people, in my life to, you know, redirect me. I'm an adult. You know what I mean? I don't need redirection unless I ask you for it. Unless you're going to be my accountability coach. That's the only time I need
Yes.
some
Yes.
redirection from
Yes.
anybody. This thing is a journey. You know what I mean? It's not set over, with anything, not just fitness, not just health, not just, it's anything that we all have a personal journey. So whatever that journey that you're on, you know what I mean? It's yours and yours alone. And it's between you and God. Really, if you ask other people's opinions about it, you can accept it, you can reject it, but it really doesn't matter whether you accept or reject. It's really what matters, what you say and how you
Yes.
feel about it, you
Yes,
know?
yes, and it certainly took me some time to
Sure.
get there
Yeah.
in life, and that doesn't mean that I don't ever think about what
Sure,
others
absolutely right.
are
Because it's a pen
saying.
that, yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Especially when we are in
yes,
relationships and
yes.
you know what I mean? But when you know what your journey is, people can't, I don't care who it is, they can't distract you on what it is or make you feel bad about it because you
Mhm.
know what your purpose is. You set
Yes.
out for this particular purpose, for this particular goal, and nobody can distract you or deter you from it. Now, it might hurt your feelings this much, but it doesn't deter you from what that actual
Mhm.
goal is. You know what I mean? And if you have people in your life, because I think we kind of weed people out. That doesn't mean you get rid of people out of your life, but everybody doesn't have an orchestra seat. You know what I mean? Or a
Yes.
front row. Some people are in the balcony, and they might be in the
Yes.
balcony for a reason. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't have the same access to your life, and I think you and I do both. We surround ourselves with people, you know what I mean, who are um not on the same, I shouldn't say mindset, but that kind of doesn't disturb our peace
Mhm.
or our journey, because we don't want to be that to other people in our lives either. We're kind of people that like, do you, I'm going to do me, and we're going to help each other through our journeys in
Yes.
whichever way we can, support each other. You know what I mean? Would that be time, would that be um, ear to listen to, whatever it might be. But our journey is definitely personal. I'm not a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. I enjoy going to church. I enjoy going to different social gatherings where it might be a spiritual, thing, meditation. I enjoy all those things that are centered around spirituality and peace. So that's probably why I can't allow people in my orbit
Mhm.
to bring
Mhm.
drama. I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't do drama. I can't do meanness. I can't do, you know what I mean? Quote unquote ghetto mentality. And I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about the mentality
Yes.
of physical violence. Those kind of things I just can't absorb in my space. So I'm not saying I don't have people that in my life that are like that, but they don't have a front row seat
Mhm.
because I can't do it. You know what I mean?
It's interesting
Mm-hmm.
because I think in us mentioning being empaths
Mm-hmm.
and how we navigate through life,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like not my entire life, but certainly as I've gotten older, I've become more cognizant of what I believe to be that force field that God has created around me so
Absolutely.
that certain people who disturb my peace or certain people who mean me harm
Mm-hmm.
or who have malicious intent,
Mm-hmm.
they may be able to get close to me, but they can't penetrate that
Absolutely
force
right.
field. And it
Absolutely.
keeps me
We have a
positive. It keeps me grounded. I've even had a few of
mm-hmm.
my friends from grade school who I'm still connected with, or
Mm-hmm.
high school who I'm
Mm-hmm.
still connected with. And they'll say, I remember when someone would do something mean or someone did something that wasn't cool, yet you never wavered. You were always still you. You were always still positive regardless. And I feel like it's the force field
It
that
is. It's
helped
the
me.
spiritual kryptonite.
Yes.
Like you can, and I've been the same way, Tanya. I grew up in North Philadelphia. I never had a physical fight in my entire life. And I think I might have had 2 arguments in my entire life because I don't, not that I'm afraid, I don't like the way that that makes me feel. And I don't know, I don't like the person that's going to come out because if that person comes out where I feel as though I have to protect that force field, I'm coming with all guns a blazing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Literally, I don't like that be in that space in my mind. I like to be in a peaceful space because I think it's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Some people bring their traumas to you, whether it be physical or mental. And I've been the same, but like you said, my husband used to always say, how'd you grow up in North Philly, never had a fight? A physical altercation is just not, it's not something that is my first train of thought. I'll
Yeah.
slap that. That's not my first thing.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is to retreat, to
Yes.
get out of this situation.
Yes.
Not that I'm running away, but I think it's smarter,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, to be like, oh, I'm out of this situation. Now, it's totally different. Somebody puts their hands on you to defend. That's something totally different. But I'm like you. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always had that kryptonite. You know what I mean? That force field around me where I didn't have to do that. So, I can't. Drama just. No, because I always think we have to save up for things that are unexpected in our lives,
Yes.
that we need that energy for. You know what I mean? You never know what's coming down the line with health and with parents and with, friends. Something, anything could happen catastrophic that you need that energy for, and bring that force field up and go, all right, this is what my energy. But for
Yes.
pettiness, that's one thing I can't do. I
Yes.
can't do petty.
And you said, like, going down the line, it made me think about how long we've known each other, 26 years. And I'm so grateful for that. And I still remember I was walking down the block to where Mr. and Mrs. Franklin lived, and you were out there.
Really?
And I just like, oh, and I was nervous. And you were like, oh, and I remember you told me, oh, you were so sweet and nice.
And you have been the same way. I've seen you grown from the shy little girl, not little girl, but young lady, to where you are now. Not that you weren't this, but you still have been always the same person, but just elevated. You know what I mean? Everything has elevated, and it's remarkable, and it's beautiful to see that shy little girl, and the shyness is cute.
Because you were in your early 30s.
I was absolutely right, with a 3-pack probably of kids. You know what I mean? So it just was just to see your growth, and you and Sean's growth, and then with Quinn, it's just a really beautiful journey to watch. And I always think about our mother-in-law. I have on one of her rings today, and how she would have been just basking in all of this. You know what I mean? Just like, because, she loved us, and she was a great mother-in-law. She never intruded in our business, extremely affectionate, affection packed.
Yes.
Yes. And our father-in-law, he loved us too. He wasn't affection packed, but you knew he loved us. But she was like, I always say, my mother taught me how to be a mother, but my mother-in-law taught me how to be a wife. She never was in our business. She just was always supportive. My mother was not affectionate at all. I can count on the times on my fingers how many times me and my mother embraced and hugged and said, I love you. But the feeling of it was so magical to me when I think back on it. So I'm very affectionate with my kids, and I look at my daughter, and she is very affectionate with her son, but she was not affectionate like I am affectionate, which is so strange. She even said this. She said, Mom, I'm not that affectionate like that. Now her husband's extremely affectionate. I think with Wraith being born, it's toward her to be more affectionate. With my boys, very affectionate with my boys. Cree and I are extremely close, but not very lovey-dovey, affectionate, like huggy-kissy. Scotty and I hold hands everywhere we go. Like, it's automatic, like a magnet. So then he says to me on our 30th anniversary, so people are like, oh my God. And I said, we still hold hands. I still get butterflies. He said, yeah, I still get butterflies too, but I hold her hand because she don't never know where the hell she's going. Because when I'm with him, I feel like, he can guide me around. When I'm with my children, grandchildren, myself, I'm always, I'm on. But with him, I'm like a flimsy, I'm just a girl when I'm with him. And he's right. I don't know where I'm going when I'm with you. You're going to guide me.
And speaking of not knowing where you're going, so 26 years ago, like I said, you were in your early 30s. So what's a piece of advice you would have given yourself about the future?
About the future. I think I would have said, it's not that deep. Like everything that you think needs to be done. Because I even, like we talked about, Sky and I were talking about last night, and we were just having a conversation about, regrets or things you wish you would have done when we were younger, raising our family. So it's not really regrets. Some do-overs, of course you would like to do, but it also made you realize that it still brought you to this place where you are now. And the place that I am now, I feel good about. There are some regrets, things I wish I would have done. I wish I would have, told my son to play, harder. He didn't, when my kids said they didn't want to do something, I just like, all right, if you don't want to do it, but I lied and I talked. He said, I wish, he said, I think about it. Y'all should have made me stay in that. He said, and I'm like, you're absolutely right. We should have made, but we were young parents. So, and I tell him, guess what? It's for you to do now. So with your children, you do, and guide them and do, and then they're going to be better than you, and so on and so forth. So from my 30s to now, I'm still proud of who I was when I was 30, because I still think I'm that same person as when I was 30. I just I'm getting older and more aware of things. You know what I mean? Not just going through the motions. Being more specific about the things that I want, the things that I enjoy and don't enjoy. This was, kind of willy-nilly because I'm going, just going through the motions. My mom was a single mom. My dad was in our life, of course, but on the weekends and holidays and stuff like that. But my mother was always working 2 jobs. So we kind of had to grow up on our own. And I never wanted to bring any drama to her. So I kind of always try to toe a line that, not that I didn't do things when I was younger. I had a kid when I was 20 years old. So not that I didn't toe the line, but I didn't want to bring any shame to my mom. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to have a reputation because, back then having a reputation, to this day, people could be the president of the United States or a state senator. You'd be like, I remember that time when such and such, back in the day. So people don't forget those things. I always wanted to keep my name clean and stuff. So I think from my 30s to now, I think I've kind of been the same person. I've always been an old soul. So I think I'm right where I need to be at this age, but going into from 60, my next decade, I want to be maybe a little bit more polished, a little bit more refined.
You are polished.
Yeah, like polished and like myself, my own journey, standing firm on Deirdre. This is not right. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. Not in a bad way, but like I said, the health journey, that's my next goal. And I'm fighting with that so hard. I'm like, why am I fighting with it when it's detrimental to my life about what I eat and how I move my body? So I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to process in my life now. Why that is such a challenge for me. But I already know I can do it. I've done so much. I've raised beautiful children. I'm enjoying my grandchildren, and I have a great source of family and friends. So I gotta stop beating myself up so much. But I'm writing things down now to make sure I stay the course on certain things. So just bettering myself and my journey, not just all for because everything has been for my family, for my children. So this decade, I want to be focused, not selfishly, but I want to focus more on myself and make myself better.
Yeah, as you should. And I think that sometimes we look at getting to that next level and we forget to acknowledge the steps in between.
Absolutely.
So I think if you say, you know what, I'm writing things down more. You know what, normally I would have had that extra slice of cake and I didn't.
Absolutely. So, the little wins.
Yes.
Are so important. Yes. Those little, and I'm so good at telling people what to do. I tell my son all the time. I say, Alana, little goals. My son, Jalen, the little small things where we cleaned the junk drawer out the other day. Scott and we cleaned out our freezers. I was like, whoa, that was so great. You know what I mean? So if I can so it's those little things that add up that you do, just the consistency that you do every day. And that's what I want to work on in my life, self-discipline and consistency and lack of procrastination. Those are the things I want to work on in my next journey. I like to keep all the other stuff though. Yeah. I think those things work.
Yes. And I would say I need to be less disciplined, if that makes sense.
No, I see what you mean.
Quinn calls me, she says, Mommy, you're not a type A personality, you're a triple A personality.
A triple A?
A triple A personality. Yes. And then so that when I work out, when I help people, especially with my best friend Michelle, I help her on her journey.
Right.
And if I make a suggestion, like for example, when we were on the cruise and I'm away and I sent her a text and she didn't respond. And I'm like, huh. And so I said, oh, this was Tuesday when I would normally be at the gym with her. And I sent her a text when I knew she was supposed to be at the gym. So then I said, okay, I'll wait. So I sent the video message on that Thursday and Quinn says, Mommy, she's avoiding you. She doesn't want to go to the gym. She's on vacation. She's on vacation because you're on vacation. I said, well, I'm still going to the gym. And she says, the average person's not going to the gym.
They're on vacation.
They're on vacation. And so I had to remind myself that I told her, I talked to her, Michelle, about it. And I said, I don't want you to feel like I'm pushing you.
Sure.
And I said, I want the best for you. I said, I know you want that for yourself.
Sure, absolutely.
And I want to be there and be supportive even if I'm not physically there. And she said, no, I don't. She said, I just felt like you were on vacation.
Right.
So I'm on vacation
too, absolutely.
And so I said, okay.
It's not so much you're pushing, it's just a reminder.
Yeah.
She can take it or leave it. But those reminders help, Tanya. They really do. They don't.
That's what she said.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean like you're not taking it personal if she does or does not. But I think as a friend, the reminder, because she wants you to be,
Yeah.
to hold her accountable to certain things. It's just a reminder. Whether she does it or not, it doesn't. That shouldn't matter. But you still the reminder. What's this? A subscription button? The notification bell.
Yes.
Notification bell.
Yes.
Because the notification bell sometimes makes people get up off there and go do what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? It's not being a nagging or annoying. And I think if you being type AA doesn't bother you or affect you in any way, I think you should just go.
I love it.
And I think you should.
Even when I
Absolutely.
went to the gym and they opened officially at 6 a.m. And I
Right.
saw how crowded it was getting
Right,
like
right.
the first. And I said, you know what? Even though they open at 6 a.m., I wonder if there's a way for me to get here earlier.
Right.
And there was this back way. And it's just me and this other guy who
Yes.
became my cruise gym friend.
He found the back way too.
And it's just the two of us.
Two AAs in the gym.
And we, do the head nod.
Yes.
And then the next day, we're
Yes.
like, hey, how you doing? And
That
then
is-
the next day,
Yes.
and then they kept switching the time back
Right,
and forth
right.
as we were going to different destinations.
Right.
And the one time I was an hour ahead.
Right.
And then the one time somehow I was an hour behind the
Right.
time it was. And he's like, hey, you're
Right,
late.
exactly.
We joked about
Yes,
it.
exactly.
But no, I just thought to myself, I like that. And
I would
and-
not change it.
yes,
at
and
all.
I looked at it from the standpoint of I can be disciplined,
Mhm.
yet still have fun. And then I'm back well before Quinn even wakes up and we're
Right.
having fun. And it's not like, I need you going to the gym with
Yes,
me or
absolutely.
something.
You've done
That
what
I'm
you
doing
needed
this
to
for
do.
me. I do what I
Absolutely
need to do. And then, hey, I'm
let's
good
go.
to
I'm
go.
good to go for the day. Let's do it. What do you want to do? I've already been up. Like my father used to say, I've done most before 12
Yes.
p.m. that most people have done all day
Yes.
because he used to be up at the crack of dawn. So
Yes.
if whatever works for you, and I think that's great. And I wouldn't change a thing if I were you. I would continue to be A plus. Yes.
And so you mentioned a few times about your marriage and
Uh-huh.
your bond that you have
Right.
with Scott,
Right.
my favorite and only brother-in-law.
Yes.
And so the poem, it says, all for one thing
Yes.
is certain, important is affection. So
Uh-huh.
you've been with Scott for over 30
Right,
years.
right, right,
And it's a
right.
beautiful testament. I mean, in a world where things are always changing and
Mhm.
moving quickly,
Right.
what has been the certain anchor that's kept you two tightly bound for over 3 decades?
I think we've always had the same goal. We both are family oriented. And one thing about Scott and I, we never wanted to call out each other's flaws. Like, oh, you do. We never done. We've been together 36 years, and this year we've been married 32 years. And I think we might have had 3 or 4 arguments. I can't remember, but never raising a voice at each other. And people think that my daughter used to say, "Oh, nobody's trying to live up to that," and we were always laughing. Not that we don't annoy each other or get on each other's nerves every now and again, but Scott does. I don't put pressure on him to do this. He doesn't put pressure on me to do that. It's just somehow we align in what we need to do. We laugh and joke all the time. We bust on each other or roast each other. Is that what they call it now? We roast each other. We just have the same goals, the same values as far as family is concerned, as far as each other is concerned. We're supportive of one another's, dreams, aspirations. Like Scott worked most of our marriage at night. So that's what kept me together. No, that wasn't it. Because when Scott was home, our family was dedicated to around his schedule, his work schedule. That's why I've always taken jobs where I could have off in the summer or where I didn't work for periods of time because his job was very stressful. I didn't want him to come home to a stressful home. You know what I mean? He had a high-powered job, very stressful, never brought it home. Ever did he bring it home and take it out on us. Vacations were centered around him and the weekends, not around him, but around our family. So I think that kind of is what bonded us together. Even now, Scott's retired. I still work, but I'm off in the summer. I'm upstairs watching the show. He's downstairs, and we'll yell downstairs, "What are you doing down there? Taking a nap?" "No, I'm not taking no nap. I don't." And so we laugh at each other. Our space, even though we're like this, we still have space for other things that we enjoy. Like he's at the gun range right now. That's something that he enjoys doing. We don't encroach on each other's. We're individuals, but we have that very, very strong bond where we like to do things together. Like we really enjoy each other's company. You know what I mean? So he's more like he really is a best friend. Like he's my best friend and I'm his best friend. Because he even said that we were at Aruba last year and I was introducing his friend to somebody. He says, "Why do you keep saying that's my best friend?" I said, "Well, it is." He says, "You're my best friend." And I was taken aback. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I thought he was your best friend, but he's your closest friend." Is that what he said? "Yeah, but you're my best friend." He was dead serious. I said, "Oh, okay. All right."
Then I'll take it.
Absolutely. So our bond was established a long time ago. I met Scott when I was 22 years old. I'll be 60. You know, we've been through health and deaths in the family and, you know, him going through cancer treatments and stuff like that. We never wavered, you know what I mean? And we never wanted our children to see, like my children never heard us argue. They never heard us raise our voice at each other. And like I said, my daughter used to say it's unrealistic for anybody to be that way. We hold hands when nobody's watching. We're just very affectionate, affection packed with one another. He's not afraid to hold my hands, not afraid to tell, you know how some guys are like, "Oh, I want nobody to think I'm soft." As strong as Scott is, he's as gentle at home. That's what I like about him. You know what I mean? He's very gentle with us in a way that we just feel secure, protected. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what has kept us together. We established a long time ago what we wanted our marriage to look like: happily married or happily single.
Yes.
Just so happens we're happily married. And I can't say that about marriage. I just say that about being married to him. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And what
because
we
there's
established.
sometimes people who say, and we're still married.
Yes,
They don't say
exactly.
the happily part. We're
Exactly.
still married. We're still together.
Absolutely. And one guy said to me, we were talking about something on Facebook. This was years ago. And he knew Scott. He knows me. He said, "Well, would he say that?" I said, "He said from a mountaintop. Yes, he would. You don't know him, obviously. You might have grown up in a neighborhood. Yes, he would. Scott has been the same guy. And I'm still waiting for him to screw up that I met." When I was 22 years old, he took me out for my 23rd birthday, and he's still the same person. And we just having to click.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And something you said that I think is so important, and it's that you enjoy each other and that you like each other. I think a lot of times people can be married
Right.
and they may say, "I love this person,"
Right.
but I don't like them.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we like each other very much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to get a little bit deeper.
Ooh.
The poem, it mentions being in love with the idea of unity, and you've raised children who are now adults,
Yes.
and they're still incredibly close with you, which is awesome. How did you manage to build that all for one family dynamic as they grew up and became independent?
Right. Well, I know with my mom growing up, I think because we didn't have a lot of money and stuff, my mother, like I said, worked hard. She put us through Catholic school on her back, you know what I mean? Working at a bar at night, working at a bank in the daytime, getting those tips and paying tuition for us. Her thing was always for us, me and my siblings to be tight knit. And so that was always my goal too, for my children to be very close. I think my kids, I don't think they ever had arguments. I don't think they ever had an argument. I remember the last argument I had with my sister. I was 10, she was 12. So it was just always about, you know, family, you know what I mean? So with my children, their age gaps are really big. Like between my oldest and my middle, my baby girl, there's 5 years there. Alon and Jalen are 12 years apart. Cree and Jalen are 7 years apart. So there's big age gaps where they all each individually had that parent time. You know what I mean? Not saying that you know they were like raised like only children, but I always wanted to instill in them that family is very important and self-respect. Like there's some people that go around, my child would never. I would never say that about my children in some instances. There are some things that I know automatically that my children are not going to do. Not because of how they were raised, but because of who they are and right now as adults, what we instilled in them a long time ago. Like they're not mean. They're not going to bully anybody. And I know that for a fact. I can't say that my son might not have had 3 girlfriends at one time when he was younger. I can't say that. He's a boy. But I know one thing I can say is that he's not going to be abusive. He's not going to harm people. He's not going to steal. He's not going to carry a gun and try to rob people. So those kind of things I wanted to instill in them their self-respect. I wanted my daughter to make sure that she had enough self-respect so when she went to pick a partner, it wasn't a partner that was going to diminish who she is. And she did that from 7th grade. We love Woody like he's our son, and she's been with the same guy since we let her have a boyfriend at 16. My husband was having a fit even then, but we've known him since they were in 7th grade. And he mimics who her dad is, has the same characteristics, even though he's his own man. My son, his fiance, they're not married yet, but hopefully will. Just a beautiful person, just nice person, not mean spirited. So I wanted our children to make sure that they saw that in me and Scott, and what kind of household. Like my son even said, I never saw y'all even raise your voice at each other. My husband is like, what's the reason? Why would we? You know what I mean? We just don't have the need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like drama, neither do I. So them having their own sense of identity and having self-respect for themselves to not be able to have other people pull them into doing things. The same way Quinny is. I look at her and she reminds me of my Cree when Cree was young. Cree has never been yelled at. Now, Alon took me there because he was a boy. And the stuff that he tells us now, he was over the house just spilling the beans the other night. Oh, yeah, I had my bike all the way up this way. We were like, look at drive. He just was a boy, but being a boy in the inner city, he was doing boy stuff, not mean-spirited stuff. And Jalen being on the autism spectrum, he is just a ball of love, a ball of affection. And when people say, children that are neurodivergent, Jalen has exceeded all of our expectations. He couldn't talk until he was like 5 years old, and he was, moving our hands around to show us what his needs were. And look at him now. He is a life of the party.
Mm-hmm.
He's working. He's he's living his life. He vacations. So those were things I wanted them to be, because I know we're not going to always be here. I wanted them to be self-sufficient. I wanted them to make sure that they are as siblings like this. You know what I mean? And they are, and creating a lot of raising their children together. And those things just make us happy. So we kind of sit back and kind of relax. And we're almost empty nesters. Jalen, is 26, but he lives with us. It just feels like, I want them back in the house. I remember saying when I was younger, I was working at the probation department. I was a young mom. I'm like, everybody's kids are getting older but mine. And then my mentor said, just wait. Little kids, little problems. Big kids, big problems. And then when my kids were having like medical issues and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, these are the big problems she's talking about. Like, I don't want them to have that. I want them to be able to afford to buy homes and all those different things, So my advice to anybody is don't rush the process.
Yes.
Enjoy every single,
Yes.
minute of it. You know what I mean? And I just love my children. They're empaths. They're givers, but they also know how to stand firm. They're not pushovers. So, yeah.
Like your mama.
Absolutely right. We're not going to be pushed over, but I'm going to help you, but to a certain degree.
So I'm in a world that can sometimes feel divided.
Mm-hmm.
You naturally choose affection and connection. And I try to do that myself.
Yes, exactly.
So where does that deep capacity to love and bring people together come from? Just based on what you said so far, I'm thinking that you get some of it from your own upbringing. But do you think that some of it was just already?
I think it was. I remember going back, and I remember this vividly, being in 3rd grade, and we were back then they called people mentally retarded. So, and which I can't stand. And I remember we were standing at the gate at the recess, and one of my friends, Maxine, said, "Oh my God, look at that retarded guy." And they all started laughing. And I was in 3rd grade, and something in the pit of my stomach made me feel awful. I didn't laugh because I didn't never want to make people feel bad. And in 3rd grade, I don't know how old you were in 3rd grade, 7 or 6 or 7 or 8, 9 years old. I remember feeling that empathy back then. So I think I kind of was born with it. My grandma was that way. My mother's mother was that way. So I think most of it, and I remember going out and being mad at my mom. I'm like, I'm going to live with my dad. And I was 16 years old. And so I go to live with my dad, and it wasn't for sure. It was from December to March. Because I remember I was making a sandwich. My sister and I went to the same high school, and I was making a sandwich. I was making 2. And my stepmother said, "Why are you making 2 sandwiches?" I said, "Oh, I've got to bring one from Lisa." She said, "Well, no, Lisa's going to have to get one from your mother's house." And the pit of my stomach was like, that's my sister. Like, I can't make her a sandwich. You know what I mean? Oh, no. And so because I was, I was being, and my mom was, I'm going to live with daddy. And so I was the only child. December I left. At the end of December, I was back in March. I'm like, oh, this not going to work. I remember going out with my grandmother in Virginia, and she said, "Oh, we can stop and get ice cream." But my sister and brother was back at the house playing with their friends. They didn't want to go. And I didn't get ice cream because they weren't there to share the ice cream with me. So I think those memories kind of remember. I remember we had electricity cut off, and my mother was like, we had candles burning around the house, but we were all in it together. So that kind of, instilled in me from my mother, and I think I was born with it also. The capacity to be affectionate, to be loyal, to be family oriented beyond all degrees. And I even have people that's not born related to me that I consider family,
Yeah.
and they are the same way. You know what I mean? So family is extremely important to me. And I think, like you said, it was from my upbringing, but it was also, I think, something I was born with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, you have nearly, and I'm going to keep you probably like, if she say 6 decades, one more time.
Oh no, I'm embracing these 6 decades. I earned them.
Yes. You have 6 decades of life. And
Yes.
I think when some people, they don't want to say their age or
Mhm.
something like that,
Oh, I'm
I think
proud.
it's important to keep in mind it's a vantage point
It is.
that you're looking back. And for me, it's the idea of history not repeating itself
Absolutely.
if it's something that was
Sure.
negative or there were some missteps. We're going to have
Absolutely.
missteps. But when you look back on your chapter so far,
Mhm.
what are you most proud of having created or nurtured? I think you'd probably say your children, but
Mhm.
even
Yes, beyond that,
yes.
beyond that, not being as scary, you know what I mean? Afraid to do different things or try different things. I'm trying to lessen my control because I'm a control freak. You know what I mean? I don't have a takeover spirit because I'm not going to go on, I'm going to run somebody's life, but being less in control. Like even on a plane, I'm like this. You know what I mean? Everything is, you know, I'm trying to control before I even know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And try to rely on my spirituality, rely that God, whatever God has in store for me, is going to happen. The lesson that I learned a long time ago is that you can't change anything. But why am I still trying to control what's inevitably going to happen? You know what I mean? Certain things are going to happen, and so to get rid of that fear, that's my biggest thing. Is like get rid of the fear and just be like, this is what it is. I look at my husband. To me, sometimes I'm like, you're not nervous, and he says to me, I don't get nervous until it's time to. So like, why am I worried? He's knocked out sleep. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking of everything that I
Sounds
need to
like
do.
his brother Sean.
Yes. Dad was the same way. You know what I mean? That's just, and I'm up looking like a crazy person in the middle of the night. Part of that's menopause too. But releasing fear, releasing anxiety, those kind of things are things that I want to rid myself of. I did learn along this journey that certain mistakes that I made in my past, I'm not making, okay, that hurt. I'm not doing that anymore. You know what I mean? So certain things that I did in my past that made me who I am today are things that I remember saying that, oh no, okay, that happened. Shut it off, move on. It'll never happen again, and letting it go. So being able to let go of things is so easy for me. Like I don't hold grudges. You know what I mean? I just don't deal in that space anymore. If it's a person, I'm not mad at you anymore. We just don't deal in that space. I don't like the way that energy feels in me when I'm having a beef with somebody. Like I have 2 cousins that I were very close to, or so I thought, and then we had an issue. And so then when we have family functions, when I would see this one cousin, it's still to this day, because we just had a party 2 years ago, to this day, it still stirs something up in me. Like, ooh, that kind of thing. Like, and I don't want to be that way. I want to be in the same room and it doesn't affect me at all. But it's still like I want, like, ooh.
And I think that's understandable because
Mhm.
we're human.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
but this journey is still going, and that's what I want to keep it
Yes.
going. My mother-in-law said to me a long time ago, "What people talking about their age, they don't want to tell their age. It beats the alternative." Absolutely, I'm embracing 60. It'll be here before I know it. I want to plan a family trip. I want to, go to Jamaica. So I would be putting information out. Anybody wants to go, they're welcome to come. I would love for the family, whoever family and friends that want to come and celebrate. I don't want to do a party. I did that at my 50th, but I would just want to go and celebrate and, be 60. My husband said when he turned 60, it stirred something in him. My best friend cried. I'm like, and my other friend said, all my other birthdays, nothing happened. Like 40, 50, I was like, oh, but 60 something happened. And I'm wondering if that's going to happen to me. Like it was like, I don't know if it was a fear or an anticipation until I get there. But then they got past that. Like all of them are now like, oh, well. So when 60 hits, I want to see how I'm going to feel when it actually does come. And I pray to God that I'll be here to see 60,
And I will share this,
Mhm.
and it's not to put a damper on turning 60,
Right.
but two things. One is that my aunt, two of my cousins, they've been on previous episodes. This their mom,
Right.
and she passed at 59, so she
Right.
didn't make it to 60.
Absolutely.
And I think about that.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
they posted on social media a picture when it would have been her 60th birthday at her gravesite with balloons,
Right.
60.
Right.
And then my grandmom, which would be her mom, passed at 62.
Absolutely.
And so even at that point, when people say, what got you on your fitness journey? It was when my grandmom passed.
Right. Absolutely.
And I thought about, I remember going to the doctor.
Right. Sure.
Just for an annual
Right.
checkup.
Absolutely.
And I asked, is there anything you can do as it pertains to genetics?
Right.
And if it's something that's hereditary.
Right.
And she says, not really. I actually found another doctor because I wasn't happy with that answer.
Absolutely. Because there is.
And I'm thinking to myself, you may be genetically predisposed.
Sure.
Yet your environment plays a significant role.
Absolutely.
And I just made it my business to prove her wrong.
Absolutely.
Even when I'm not sure if you recall, when I had the cast of my arm.
When you fell.
When I fell.
Yes.
And it was meant to be because I was walking in a door I normally don't walk in on college campus and slipped and fell on a day I'm not normally there.
Absolutely.
And I remember the doctor, the orthopedic surgeon, because I had to get a permanent pin put in my wrist.
Right.
And he tells me, well, you won't be able to do a push-up. You won't be able to do this and that. And part of me feels like he has to give that script.
Sure, absolutely.
And he says it to everybody.
Absolutely.
And I thought, not me.
Absolutely.
And so when I think about that, and the same
Yes.
thing, I think some people, sadly, I think a lot of us, especially in the Black community, Latino community, with certain eating habits,
absolutely.
high blood pressure,
Yes.
diabetes,
Yes.
all these other issues.
Absolutely.
That 60 is when that monster is really rearing its head.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, here
Yes.
you. I mean, 50 for some people,
Sure, but
60,
60,
it's like, it's like dealing out the cards. Like, here you
right.
go.
Absolutely.
And so I said, I need to get ahead of this. I
Yes.
got some time.
Yes.
So when I turn that age, I don't want them to be like, whoa, we're going to have to
Absolutely.
prescribe you this, put you
Absolutely
on
right.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I mean, so like I said, it's not a matter of looking at the negative side of 60, but I think that maybe that's when that monster's rearing its head
think
for
you're-
some
it
people.
is.
And they're saying, I need to get
This
my
is the
act
timeline.
together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, because people are 90 and my dad's 81. He got like a little slower, but he's 81 years old. He smokes and drinks every day. So you can, I'm like, okay, he's got some health issues now, but he smoked since he was 12 years old. And not saying that he should have cancer or anything like that, but I'm saying it depends.
Yes, some
But-
people, genetics works to their advantage. Some
Absolutely
people
right.
not so much.
Absolutely right. So, but sometimes if you can get
You
ahead
want to
of
roll the dice?
absolutely right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we all have a choice. You know?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I said, so I can't do anything about genetics, but I can do something about
Absolutely.
what I choose to do.
Absolutely
in
right.
life.
Absolutely right. Yes, yes, yes.
So the final line of the poem, it says, important is affection.
Mhm.
And so it's a reverse. You would normally hear people say affection is important, but important, putting that
It's a
emphasis.
statement.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
as you step into that next decade,
Mhm.
how do you plan to cultivate affection and joy, not for others, but
Right.
for yourself?
For myself. To I just want to embrace myself. I want to love on myself a little more. Last week I went out with my sister-in-law and she said, you know what I did? She said, I got out of the shower. She said, normally I put my lotion on. She said, I actually rubbed the lotion in. So I was starting to do that, right? And I'm like, this is it's like a lymphatic massage. Actually starting to, now, mind you, I've raised a family and I've got grandkids and I got a busy life and everything. I've never done that. It's always, let me put my stuff on, let me hurry up, but to actually love on yourself and rub your body down, it's like lymphatic massage, which is very good for you, very therapeutic. So I want to be more intentional about how I treat myself, how I treat my body. You know what I mean? This is the only one I got. I want to be more affectionate with myself and love on myself and pat myself on the back a little bit more, even for small goals. I said, I felt good cleaning up those freezers the other day. My back was hurting because I was bending over so much and throwing stuff out. And that's another thing, getting rid of stuff. You know what I mean? Cleansing out, clothing and things that I don't need because I'm not a hoarder, but I'm like, this could be reused, and it's been there 10 years, and I didn't reuse it yet. So that's a part of my journey now too, cleansing, not just my body, but things around me. I just sitting there with a couch in the house now. All those things I thought were so important are not.
Yes, I would call, Sean would say I'm a hoarder,
Uh-huh.
but I don't have clutter and
Right.
things of that nature.
Exactly.
I would call myself, as you were saying, that I'm a sentimental hoarder.
Absolutely. That's
meaning
me.
that I have awards that I earned
Right.
when I was in grade school. When I say
Exactly.
grade school, I mean third grade. I have a book of my
I wish I had
awards
that. I don't even have pictures of me when I was a child, Tanya. So
Yes.
they burned it. My mom had a fire years ago, so I don't know what I looked like as a child growing up. So that's why I got 30,000 photos in my phone, and some of them.
That's
So
guilty.
those kind of things
Yes.
mean something to me, and I think that
Yes.
has I don't know what I look like as a child. You know what I mean? Even my teenage years, I got some pictures and stuff like that, but some things are very sentimental to me. I'm like you. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of stuff that is not sentimental.
Yes.
I got to put in my mind
I
that
do
this
the
is
Marie.
not.
I do the Marie Kondo. I'm not sure if you've ever.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Does it
absolutely.
spark joy?
Yes.
And then there's some instances
Yes.
where I'm like, do I need the hard copy
Right.
of this?
Yes.
Am I okay if I just take a picture of it?
Absolutely. And then there goes the 30,000 pictures.
Yes.
And
Take a
what
picture of
folder
this
is
one.
this? Exactly. Yes. So that's another part of my journey, cleansing. You know what I mean? Cleansing out a whole bunch of things and, thought process. I just want to be a little lighter.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
A little
I'm
lighter.
not sure if you've done this. When you mentioned the lotion, I had to try that
Mhm.
one because I do kind of quick about it.
Yes.
But when you eat, and who was this? I actually got to speak with him in person. This was some years back. Deepak Chopra.
Oh, you have
You
to
know?
speak with him?
Yes,
I
he was at
understand.
the
Yeah.
he was at the main library, 19th and Vine,
Okay,
in
yes.
Philly.
Uh-huh.
And so I purchased his book. So I have his book,
Right.
and it's about eating,
Yes.
and it talks about how we don't necessarily just eat for, you want to eat for nourishment
Sure.
and for enjoyment, but also to take your time, that a lot of times we're just quickly eating.
That's me.
And I will say that's something where I struggle because I try to find the right time.
Right.
Because Zach, our toy
Sure.
poodle,
Absolutely.
as soon as he wolfs down his food, he's like, all right, now I'm ready to go outside.
Yes,
And I'm
exactly.
like, Zach,
I'm still eating.
and so I'm trying to find the schedule. And of course, someone listening or watching will say, well, make him wait.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, listen, if I make him wait, he's going to just be incessant. And he's going to come
Absolutely.
and pat me on my shoulder,
Absolutely.
pat me on my arm.
Yes.
Until I take, because we trained him to use
Sure,
the bells.
absolutely.
And so he keeps ringing the bell. And the first few times you're like, okay, he just wants to go see friends. If
Exactly.
he keeps ringing the bell, he's got to go.
He's got to go. Absolutely.
And I'm like, we're not going to have him go in the house.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, oh, and so I've gotten to the point where with breakfast, I make him what I'm having if I don't have to go to work. So we both have a veggie omelet.
Absolutely.
And he's more patient.
Yes.
Because, hey, I'm making us our food together.
Absolutely.
And then we sit down. And obviously we're not
Restraint.
eating it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, but
so then I
he's
can take my
satisfied.
time.
Absolutely. You're
'Cause
supposed
I'm
to.
like, you know how, because they also say about how you don't realize that you're full if you eat too quickly.
Absolutely.
Because soon as the food comes up to your mouth, the digestion is starting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're eating quickly, you know,
Metabolically,
like a person's like, oh my
absolutely.
gosh, my stomach hurts. Well, if
Because
you would have
were
taken your time
Absolutely.
to savor it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that person who's like, let me take 20
No.
bites. I'm
But
not saying that.
slower
But
and to chew.
yes,
What- that's how we're supposed to
chew your
eat.
food.
Absolutely.
Don't just
Absolutely right. And this is why probably Asian people eat with the chopsticks. You can't eat but so fast with those little chopsticks.
Mhm,
So so much food going to go over there.
mhm.
I am a fast eater.
Yeah.
And I have to remember, no, like, calm down. Enjoy it.
Yes.
You enjoy the taste. I don't like my food cold. So that's another excuse. And then, like you said, you don't know if you're full. I'm full, but I was raised that you better not throw that food in the trash.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You better eat everything. So
That's
then
why I
just do
start with small
That's
portions.
exactly what I do
Yes.
now. That's what I do
I can
now. So
always get a little more if
absolutely
I
right.
want. Start with a
Yes.
smaller portion, then come back
Exactly.
if I want more.
Absolutely. Those are the reminders that
Yes.
I'm talking about going forward
Mhm.
in life. Reminding yourself and notifications. Ding dong. You eating too? Slow down. Because me, I'm a savage when I eat. I eat fast. I don't want, like, I'm heating my food back up.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, it's not hot enough.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be scorching
Mhm.
hot, Deirdre. You know?
And I don't know if,
Oh,
and
I
this
gotta get
is,
to that appointment. But go ahead.
yeah,
Go
and this
ahead.
is me
Right.
generalizing,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if this is an American thing or not, with a lot of us eating quickly, because in a lot of
It
other
is.
cultures,
They
they
don't.
really take their
They
time.
do.
Family dinner could be a few hours.
Absolutely right. And then they're sitting around afterwards.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And then they're
Mhm.
eating with their fingers. Nigerians eat, a lot of African cultures eat with their fingers to,
Mhm.
the whole experience of eating is supposed to be enjoyment, nourishment, and the whole thing. We're so busy. Oh, I gotta hurry up. I gotta get to the next meeting.
Mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm,
Everything is rush,
mhm.
rush, rush,
Yeah.
because we live in a capitalistic society
Yeah.
and we're always off to the next thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I am going to take note of that, Tanya, and chew slower and eat my food and have my portion. Even when I'm drinking something, like I just had a protein shake on the way here. And it was really good because I'm hungry. I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Slow down.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
yes, and just in slowing down, I'm so glad we were able to have this conversation, and we packed in a
Yes,
lot.
we did.
And so I just have one last question.
Okay.
If you were a dog, what breed would you be and why?
Oh my God, that question. All right, so I have a dog breed
Okay.
in mind. I didn't know this question was going to be asked. Well, I kind of did. It was a Labrador Retriever.
Ah,
Or a Golden Retriever, I'm
a
sorry.
golden retriever.
Exceptionally loving and affectionate, thrives with family, naturally helpful. They often use service dogs. Intelligent and eager to please, friendly with strangers and other pets, and happy to relax after daily exercise.
Mhm.
That is me. So I think I would be a Golden Retriever.
Awesome.
Yes.
You're very friendly.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm very
And
friendly,
a
yes.
lot of people,
Mhm.
including Quinn
Uh-huh.
and Mackenzie and my one friend Kia, like, a lot of people chose Golden Retriever for me.
Really? Well, I also
So I'm
felt-
wondering what
yes.
dog for me.
For you, I think Golden Retriever also, but also, this was one, a Border Collie.
Ah.
They're extremely energetic, intensely loyal. They love having jobs. They're incredible problem solvers and very creative, and they're excellent with active families. So I thought that was you also, but also the Golden Retriever and a Belgian Malinois.
Mm.
Extremely disciplined, fiercely loyal and protective, highly athletic, learns almost anything quickly, and thrives on structure. So I think that might be the Belgian Malinois, might be you more so than that. But also, we have a mixture of all of these things. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
this has been
I love
so
them. Yes.
enjoyable.
Me too. And I'm just grateful to have had you not just on the podcast, but in
Mhm.
my life for
Oh.
over 26 years. And it's just been like a master class just sitting down with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. You don't
Yes.
know, I feel the same thing. You're my baby sister,
Oh.
but I've learned so much from you. You really are infectious. You really are. You know what I mean? And I just love watching how you've grown since I've known you. And I'm just so proud to call you my sister.
Oh, thank
And we have to get back on our schedule for,
Yes.
for our brunches.
I would love that.
Absolutely right. And I love you. And thank you so much for having me. This is the first time I've done anything like this. I know I talk fast, so I hope this comes across clearly to people. And I love you and thank you.
Oh, I love you too. And you know that I am so grateful because we've been trying. You were supposed to be one of my very first guests.
Absolutely right.
So-
But I think Affection Pact
Yes,
was where we
that's
were supposed to
right,
be
that's
spiritually,
right. Yes,
spiritually
yes,
aligned.
exactly. That's why I said this is the one you were supposed
Absolutely.
to be on, and
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you were here, and you were just like the ultimate glue, if you don't know, like with
Oh.
family,
Thank you.
within your relationship, and even I'm sure Coco's like, all right, where is
Yes,
she?
where
Which-
is she? Yes. Although her dad's been her favorite lately since he's been
Uh-oh.
retired.
Yes,
That's because he's
yes,
been retired. Yes.
yes, yes.
But that's okay. I tell him, I
Yeah.
said, you can have her. The kids love me more. And we always laugh. But please have me again.
I will.
I would
I'm
love
looking
to come
forward
back.
to
Absolutely.
it. Awesome.
I want your brother-in-law to come.
But to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If today's episode reminded you of someone who brings unity and affection into your life, reach out and tell them today. And while you're at it, share this episode with your family and friends. And also, please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Tricks My Dog Taught Me. Until next time, when I get into week 30's poem, stop, take notice. Here's a lesson from my little guy, Zach the Toy Poodle, who's all about affection. From family to friends, pack affection within your core group. It makes for a solid unit and allows you to uplift others. Take care, and I will see you next week.